Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. I'm your host, Sandy Joy, and today we're going to dive into something survivors often feel very ashamed of, confused by, and or overwhelmed with, and that's betrayal trauma triggers and how they show up in ways that most people never even imagine. But before we get into that, just a reminder that I don't edit these podcasts. I'd like them to be real, raw, authentic, and of course, with vulnerability. So as we dive in to betrayal trauma triggers, you may have figured out some of your triggers. On average, the majority of people who have experienced trauma across the board, including betrayal trauma, know less than 1% of the things that activate their nervous system, which are our triggers. Okay. No less than 1% of what the triggers are. And that's why I decided to do this podcast was because triggers are so much more than what we usually think they are. Okay. So survivors usually say things like, I don't know why I'm bothered. I don't know what's happening to me, why I'm feeling this way. And when we're activated, it's our nervous system saying that, especially our amygdala, that trauma is happening right now, even when it isn't. Okay. And so our body is reliving the trauma. So we also say things, it's such a small thing. Why is that setting me off? I feel crazy, but you're not crazy. Again, even though you may feel that way, you're not. You're traumatized. Okay. And your brain is trying to protect you. It's trying to send you a warning with these activations. So today we're going to explore why the betrayal trauma triggers are so much more than you think, how they form, and why they feel so intense, and as well as how survivors can begin supporting themselves with compassion and grounding. Okay. The key here is compassion because we tend to beat ourselves up, right? We're so good at that. So, what is a trigger? Well, let's start with that definition. So, a trigger is a cue, whether external or internal, that reminds the brain of danger it has experienced before. But when we start with that activation, our brain, is okay, there's a warning, something's happening here. If we're not able to heed that warning, like our body signals, then our brain goes into shutdown. And I'm going to do a deeper dive into what happens in our brain and in the limbic system. It's going to be another several weeks, but I'm going to do this to explain what's actually happening here, okay? But if we don't heed that warning, then our brain goes, oh, trauma's happening right now. Okay. And until we start feeling safe, and that's usually by being alone, those feelings don't go away. Okay. So when the brain is saying that there's danger that it's experienced before, it can activate fear, panic, grief, anger, confusion, the freeze response. So the freeze, fight, flight, fawn, and fold can be all involved in here, or a sense that something's wrong and I don't know what it is. And again, remember that we may know less than 1% of our actual triggers. Okay. So betrayal trauma triggers are especially powerful because the danger wasn't from a singular event, like a car accident, okay, or a house fire. It is, betrayal trauma often happens. There's the grooming process, that which a lot of deceits and manipulation. So it's that psychological abuse that I continue to talk about because it's so important. to understand. But it is betrayal trauma happens over days, weeks, months, and most often years. And so it becomes a system of harm, right? System of deception, a system of sexually acting out, not the survivor, the perpetrator of it, the system, a system of gaslighting, system of emotional instability, system of loss of safety, and attachment destruction. Triggers do not require evidence or logic. They occur because your brain is wired for survival, not rationality, especially the limbic, so it's like the emotional part of our brain. Okay. So, triggers you expect, and then the ones you don't. Most people understand that certain things, trigger trauma. So, a place, a smell, a date, a memory, a phrase, a situation. But betrayal trauma creates unique categories of triggers survivors really hear validated. And let's walk through the ones that most people don't talk about or don't realize that these are actually triggers. Days of the week. So number one, days of the week. So whatever that day is, a Monday, a Thursday, a Saturday. Why? Because trauma organizes itself around patterns. If acting out always happened on weekends, if your D Day, your discovery day was a Tuesday, if therapy was always on Thursdays, your nervous system remembers, even if you don't. Okay. Months and seasons. Winter may feel unsafe because that's when discovery happened. Going back to school time, maybe there was something that happened going back to school or in the summer. A certain month may carry dread because that's when the lying escalated, or that month that D-Day happened. And we have more fresh or fresher memories of, of things leading up to D-Day in that month. Even the temperature in the air can activate the body's memory. Okay. Numbers. This one shocks many survivors, right? But numbers link to hotel rooms, addresses, dates, passwords, bank statements, someone's age. Sexual acting out timelines can all become trauma cues. So I'm going to give you an example of how numbers. I'm going to give you my D-Day was the 20th. Okay. So the number 20 was always an activator. And I didn't realize it at first. Same with Wednesdays. Okay. I'll get into what I did around those things later. So going to the grocery store, if my receipt or my total was $20 and something cents or something and then 20 cents, I tended to be activated. Anytime I saw 20, I was activated. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Until I realized, oh, my body knows 20 is not safe for me. Okay. And then that gave me the cue. Okay, something comes with a 20, deep breath. Take some deep breaths. Remind myself what I need to do for me. Okay. So the next thing is tones and vocal patterns. So this can be a sigh. This can be a quiet voice. This can be a loud voice, a sarcastic voice, a certain, cadence. Your partner may have used these when they were hiding something or when they were about to gaslight you. Your body remembers tone long before the mind does. So when I would ask for, passwords or where investments were, and my ex's tone would always change. Oh, yeah, I'll get that for you. I'll get that for you. I'll do, but why don't we go watch a movie? He would change, you know, to appease spending time together, which is my number one quality time, is spending time together. That my number one love language, or I have two, quality time and physical touch for me. So it would be, come on, and he would grab my hand. Let's go watch a movie. Let's do something. Because then it would be, oh, yeah, yeah, I want to watch a movie. Or, yeah, I want to play a game of cards. Yeah, I want to do something. But now that tone that he used became, ah, he's hiding something. He doesn't want to do something. Once I realized what that tone was, right? Five, songs, TV shows, movies. We can even do, musical instruments in here. It doesn't have to be songs, it can be just music of any kind. Anything linked to the partner's double life, affair partners, porn use, emotional betrayal, financial betrayal, or a timeline of harm can instantly trigger panic or grief. I used to love watching Family Feud, thought it was funny, until I realized how much they talked about sex or infidelity, cheating was always, almost always a question in one of their surveys. The other was Big Bang Theory. I love Big Bang Theory. I can watch it again, and the same with Family Feud. I can watch those again too. Not, I don't do it as often though. I just lost interest. But Big Bang Theory, how much they talked about infidelity. And that it was, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. There were certain songs I couldn't listen to. And there was other songs that, like Fight Song was my, like, rah, rah, like, let's listen to this. So smells. So we've talked about smells, but it can be cologne. It can be soap, laundry detergent, candles, even the smell in a car or a hotel hallway. Smell is the most primitive and emotional memory system we have. Okay. And we can have flashbacks that are this oral smell that there's nothing happening, but we get this smell. And that's a flashback is a daytime nightmare. You just have to be awake for it. And it can be a smell that all of a sudden you're smelling this, cologne or deodorant or whatever, and it's your body's way of saying something is wrong and you're not feeling safe right now. Okay. Sounds, phone notifications, okay, typing, the garage door, or even like just like when we say typing, it doesn't have to be on a typewriter or like a computer. I'm old, so yeah, typewriter or computer, but your phone, just doing the texting, okay? Garage door opening, shower turning on, door closing, someone whispering, a keyboard clacking in the early morning or later at night. For me, one of the sounds that were really triggering was the sound of Velcro, the rip of a Velcro strap. And to this day, well, I know I don't get activated, but I cringe. I just, so child with Velcro shoes, I literally like cringe. Okay, let's just get this done. Um, or I need to move away from it because my ex's phone was always in a pouch that had a Velcro strap. And so it was always that rip when he lifted it up to get his phone out, which was multiple times in the evening, day, weekend, whatever, multiple. So that Velcro sound was sound for me. These are not little things. These are all body memories. Okay. So why does betrayal trauma create so many triggers? Many survivors wonder, I am triggered by everything. And here's why. It's because betrayal trauma, again, is not a singular event. Your brain wasn't responding to one threat, it was responding to ongoing unpredictability over years often. Okay? The danger came from inside the attachment bond. And that attachment, again, doesn't have to be romantic partner or intimate partner. That attachment, we have attachment with bosses, with coaches, with babysitters, with, counselors, camp counselors, um, other, family members. We have, colleagues. We have these attachments. Okay. Any relationship of any sort, there is some sort of attachment with our doctors, nurses, so on. Okay. So the danger came from inside the attachment bond. And attachment-based trauma creates a wider trigger spectrum because your biology is designed to track that person closely. And especially if it is a family member, or partner. The brain pairs thousands of cues with danger. Okay. So even subtle cues become red flags when your nervous system has repeatedly experienced lies, confusion, instability, deception, coercion, gaslighting, unsafe sexuality, and emotional abandonment. And betrayal trauma, remember, is a relational trauma. Okay. So relational trauma embeds itself into context of time, space, tone, routine, and sensory cues. That may not happen when it's a singular event, non-betrayal trauma. And then survivors lived in a prolonged state of live currently in a prolonged state of hypervigilance. Okay. Hypervigilance expands that range of triggers because the body was forced to be alert all the time, or is forced to be alert all the time. If you're currently going through it, you're constantly in this state, and your body is picking up these cues that become activators, become the triggers. So, what do triggers feel like in the body? Survivors commonly experience tight chest, can't breathe, maybe even pressure in the chest, shaking, tunnel vision. They can only see this, nothing else, anything else doesn't exist. Sudden exhaustion. I can't do this. I'm just too tired. I'm just done. Intrusive thoughts. What is wrong with you? And that could be a question to the perpetrator, or it could be a question to self. Racing heartbeat. Dissociation. That is the dissociation can happen in the fawn, but most often in the fold. Okay. Panic. That's the anxiety piece. That's the flight. And the urge to flee is the flight. Okay. The urge to shut down. Part of that can go into dissociation. It can also be submissiveness. And submissiveness is the fawn. Okay. Difficulty speaking, feeling out of body. Like, is this really happening to me? Like, this is not. I just feel like I'm watching this, like there's a movie play out. These are not overreactions. These are survival reflexes. Your body reliving, okay, traumatic times and what was happening in that state of hypervigilance. Again, over hours, days, weeks, months, and years. The brain is saying, I've seen this before. You were not safe last time, and I need to protect you. And again, if we're not able to heed those messages, the prefrontal cortex will close down And that's what triggers the freeze, fight, flight, fawn, or fold. And when we're in those, it's only until we start feeling safe again that we even have words to be able to even describe what's going on. And then we tend to think, why was I so angry? Or why was I so upset? I wanted to go, out for coffee, and the anxiety stopped because there had been a trigger of some sort. Okay. So we blame ourselves for the triggers. And people often feel embarrassed because it just seemingly, it's so small. It's a Velcro strap. What the hell? It's kids' shoes. You know, I should be over this. Note to self, okay? Just to all of you. We never, capital Never, get over anything. We don't get under it. We don't go around it, and we don't let it go. Cut like a ribbon, and there it is in the past. Done. We have to move through it. We have to move through the emotional pain in order to come out the other side without all these activations and in our healing journey. Okay. I don't want to upset. We also say, we're embarrassed because I don't want to upset anyone. No one will understand. He'll say I'm overreacting. I'm too sensitive. I feel irrational. And yet here's the truth. You cannot shame your way out of a trauma response. It actually will heighten that response and make you feel worse. Triggers are not chosen. Triggers are not dramatic. And it's not your fault. It's what your body picked up using all of the senses in order to survive. You are not weak. You are wounded. So how are you going to support yourself through triggers, right? It's important to be compassionate with yourself. Compassionate-based strategies that actually work with the nervous system. And it's actually moving towards the trigger, the move towards the pain, the uncomfortableness, rather than away from. So it's name the trigger without judgment, if you know what it is. But even if you don't know what the trigger is, you can say, I'm triggered right now, and this is my body trying to protect me. Okay. Compassion, no judgment, even if you don't know what is actually the activating factor. Orient yourself to the present moment. Look around the room slowly. And this is an activity called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I believe I've talked about it before. And this is name 5 things you can see. And if you can describe them, describe them. I can see my artificial tree here with my white lights on it. The tree is green, the lights are white, they're bright, and it makes me happy. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch. So I could go back and I could touch the tree and I could feel the leaves and I can describe them. 3 things you hear. Right now I hear the hum of the computer. I hear actually my dog just yawning. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I could hear that. Just anything you can hear. 2 things you can smell. And maybe it's even, I smell the soap from when I, last washed my hands. Or I smell, coffee in the coffee maker. And then 1 thing you can taste. And if you're not sure if you can taste anything, get something, whether that is coffee or, hot chocolate or, gum or a mint or something like that you can actually taste. And one of the things you can do around this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is create a little package, if you will, for yourself, a little bag for yourself that you carry, some gum in it or mint in it for the things that you can taste. And maybe, like, I can't remember what they're called, just a little tube of things, something you can smell. And because there's usually things in the air we can smell. So maybe just something, but maybe you can smell the mint or the gum. And, just things that you can smell. Things that we can hear is usually if we just listen, we can hear if we're outside, bird song or vehicle going by or somebody walking. Like, so we can usually do that. And the same with touch. There's usually things right around us we can see and describe and things we can touch. So carrying those things, though, things that you can actually smell. But if you want to put in, a little bell or an elastic where you can just kind of snap it, you can hear it, but you can also feel it. So it's things that you can touch, but also hear. Um, that can help you. So you don't have to worry wherever you are, you have your own little, it helps us to ground and takes our mind to focusing on these other things that we can see and so on. So the next thing that we can do is ground through sensation. And this is feet on the floor. Okay. But it's not just putting your feet on the floor, it's feel the floor. Is it carpet underneath your feet? Is it soft or is it a hard floor? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it smooth or is it rough? Hand on your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Just feel that you are alive. It may be, your pulse in your neck or in your wrists, if you can do that. Hold a warm mug, or maybe it's a cold glass of water. Touch something with texture, but it's, even if you're sitting, whatever you're sitting on, is it soft? Is it hard? Is it warm? Is it cool? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Ask yourself those questions because now you're telling your brain, I'm in the present. This is what I'm sitting on. I'm sitting on my chair. It's a little bit soft. It's in between hard and it's an older chair now, a desk chair. So I've worn it. So it's not as soft as it used to be, but it's still not hard like sitting on a hard wooden chair. Okay. So the fourth thing is about breathing low and slow. So this can be called box breathing, and it's inhaling deeply, but we inhale through the nose because when we are activated, we usually are either hyperventilating, which is that we're breathing too quickly, and it's I don't know what to do. Like it's almost like we're going into panic and our heart rate increases and so on. Or we slow down our breathing so much that it's hard for our body to get, enough oxygen. Okay. So when we breathe in through our mouth, okay, when we're panicking, we're going, and when we're breathing slower, but we're still in our mouth and out. Here's the thing. It's important when we actually do breath work that we go in through our nose. And the reason is we can't hold it in our nose. When we breathe in through our mouth and we hold it in our mouth, it doesn't go down to our lungs. It doesn't get the oxygen down here. And we're breathing right back out the oxygen we just took in. You can't hold in your nose. It automatically goes down the back of your throat. So box breathing is breathing, say, for 4 seconds. So nice deep breath in, and now hold for 4. Because why we're holding for 4, because you're not holding it in your nose, you're allowing it to get down into your lungs. So we're just going to just wait now for 4, 2, 3, 4. And then it's a slow breathe out for 8. So 4 and 4. So 4 in, 4 hold or wait, 4 out, 4 out. So, because otherwise we tend to go, And we don't want to do that because we're blowing out oxygen with the carbon dioxide. Okay. So we want to breathe out like this. Slow and steady. It will reduce the panic, reduce the anxiety. And when we take a slow exhale first, first breathing lowers activation. So if we go, just get whatever we need to, that tension out. Now then take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Always breathing in through the nose and slowly out through your mouth. Okay. I always like to do a set of three because I say it's body, mind, and soul, but you do what works for you. And then the next one is remind yourself this is a memory, not a prediction, and it's not happening right now. The brain, while responding to the past, may be telling ourselves it's actually happening now. And so it's tell ourselves if we can tell ourselves that that this is a memory, it's a memory trigger, and that you're safe. And if you can say it out loud, say, I am safe. We are activating three different areas of our brain rather than just thinking it, which is one. So we can think it, which is one area. When we speak it, we activate a second area of our brain. And when we speak it, we're hearing it. So now we're activating a third area of our brain. Okay. And that helps. The other thing that helps is saying the date when we're activated, because the activation may think that it's the 20th again, and when it's not. So we can say today is Friday, December 12th, 2025. And your brain goes, wait, what? It's not the 20th of July? What? It is, it is Friday, December 12th. I'm recording this on December 12th, as you can tell, 2025. Okay. Seek another method you can do is seek co-regulation if available. So a trusted friend, and that can be by phone. Okay, just you're activated. I just need to talk to someone. I just, tell me about your day. Okay. If you have a pet them, call them, hold them, you know, seek co-regulation, maybe even from your therapist, if that's what you need, or partner or other family member, whomever is safe for you. Can help reset your nervous system. All of this can help reset. And then the last piece is reduce triggers gradually, not aggressively, because they're trying to tell us something. So it's really important that we don't try to conquer the trigger. It's important to befriend your triggers. They befriend your nervous system and build safety over time. So we move towards the triggers. That means we're acknowledging them rather than saying, nope, nope, you're going behind that door. Away you go. And if it's not an appropriate time for the trigger to say, trigger, I recognize you. You may not even recognize what the actual trigger is, but that you are triggered. And now is not the time. And I'm just going to cover you gently with a warm blanket, and I'm going to come back to you. So when it is safe to do so, go back. Okay. But move towards the triggers and thank them. And I know this is hard to do, and you're going, what the hell? When we befriend the triggers, we are letting our body and our nervous system know that we're aware of being warned and protected from further harm. So thank you, trigger, for letting me know. And I'm safe now. Thank you for letting me know, but I'm safe. I've got it. I'm in control. So triggers mean that your nervous system, and I'm going over time here again. I'll keep this as short as possible here. Okay. So triggers mean your nervous system is working. So as we end this episode, let's try to reframe as much as we can, because many survivors find this life-changing when they can get control of their triggers. And when they understand and have that self-compassion for what those are. So triggers do not mean that you are broken. Triggers mean that your body protected you during trauma and it still wants to protect you now. Okay? You're not failing, you're healing. And that's what it's telling you. And every trigger is an invitation to respond with compassion instead of shame. Okay. So 3 things to take away today is betrayal trauma triggers are far more expansive than most people realize. And if you're able, put in the chat or the comments if you can, what are some of your triggers? Because others may read that and realize that, oh, that happens to me, and not feel so alone. Or you may read others and go, yeah, I experienced that too. Okay. So they can be linked with time, seasons, numbers, tones, smells, songs, and subtle cues. The second takeaway is triggers occur because betrayal trauma was chronic, destabilizing, and relational. Your nervous system adapted to protect you. And the third takeaway is you're not weak or dramatic. Your body is remembering danger, and it's important to take care of you, whatever you need in that moment. Healing comes from compassion, grounding, and understanding your biology, whatever you need. Okay. So thank you for joining me today in Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. And remember that healing is possible even from the deepest, darkest wounds. If this episode resonated with you, please let me know. Leave a comment or send me an email, sandy@sandrajoy.ca. If you like more resources, or if you know of anyone who'd like to take my betrayal trauma course, or maybe you're a professional in the field and would like to take it, it can be found on my website, sandrajoy.ca. And if you're able, please, please, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It encourages the algorithms. And no, I do not get paid for doing these podcasts. Okay. It's not about payment. It is about increasing awareness, building that algorithm. And if you can, like and share the podcast so that others may find community and not feel so alone. And so join me next week when we continue the conversation as I dive into betrayal trauma as it relates to pornography and sex addiction. But please, please, please hear me when I say this. Please note that even if your betrayal trauma was not caused from your partner or ex having a porn or sex addiction, there is a number of transferable and or similar experiences from other forms of addiction or other types of betrayal trauma that you may recognize as part of your betrayal trauma experience. There's so much similarities across the board, as well as some differences. Okay. So until next time, take gentle care of yourself. And remember, I see you, I hear you, and I believe you. Until we meet again. Thank you.